Welcome back to Stream of Consciousness with Dan. Before we get into today's conversation, I want to set the table a little bit. Every once in a while, I come across someone whose work feels like it's speaking directly to something I've lived. Not in theory, not in metaphor, but in the real, messy, human way that shapes who you become. And if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, you know that music has been that lifeline for me. It's gotten me through seasons I didn't think I'd get out of. It's helped me understand myself, connect with people, and stay grounded when everything else felt like it was spinning. So when I found out about a podcast called Soul Impact: How Music Saved Us, I knew immediately that whoever created that show understood something I've carried my whole life. That belief in music isn't just entertainment, it's survival, it's identity, it's community, it's healing. Today's guest is the person behind that idea. Someone who grew up in a place where stories matter, where community matters, and where music can be the difference between feeling lost and finding your way back. I'm really excited to share this conversation with you. All right, everybody, we are live with Stream of Consciousness with Dan. And today I'm joined by someone whose work hit me right in the chest the moment I found it. Willie Thornton is here, founder of Backwoods Productions and the creator of the podcast Soul Impact: How Music Saved Us. And if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, you know that that title alone tells you why I wanted him to be here. Willie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing really well. I'm so pumped to talk to you. I feel like we're very close in our sense of music and very close geographically. I mean, I'm from Nebraska, you're in Missouri. It's not too far away, so it's nice to kind of talk to someone that close to me. So yeah, I'm super excited, and I hope you are too.
Oh, I am. I love being guest on podcasts. It's something I had to start making myself do, but because I have to get my message out there somehow.
Yeah, I can't wait to get started. So just kind of give our listeners what young Willie looked like, where you came from, your childhood, and maybe like any hobbies or interests even outside of music, and just kind of paint that picture for us.
All right. Well, basically, young Willie was pretty disturbed because I dealt with a lot of child abuse at an early age. In fact, my first memory of my dad was I was 3 years old and got a red center, one of them little red mason bricks thrown through the window of a glass. Spent hours digging glass out of my knee.
Jesus Christ.
So that my mom immediately uprooted us from my dad and we moved to Missouri. They say things got better from there. I guess it did for a little bit, but then my stepdad got abusive and it was just a whirlwind. I was young me. I was looking to get in any trouble I could get into. And once I realized getting into trouble wasn't going to do me any good, I plugged into school and I was active in everything I could be active in. That way I didn't have to be home. I mean, I
Mm.
was in every club possible that I could be a part of. If I had to pay for it, I found a way to go out and work a job so I could pay for my own means just because I didn't want to be where the abuse was. And there's a lot of pent up for a long time. There's a lot of pent up emotions about all that. And I probably, we talked off camera a little bit. I was probably 10 or 11 when I found music the first time. And I realized how much it really affects a soul. Like music is that thing that no matter how deep into it, that you're able to pour out. And, I'm not musically talented at all. That's why I'm a DJ. But I'm able to share that. If I find a song and, it's a sad song and I can pass that song along. Like, and if it's an upbeat song, I know songs that I can play that will get the crowd up and moving. And especially now that I've got my podcast, is I'm able to take it and I have a lot. My show, I interview mostly artists, and um, I'm able to take music that I found from the independent artists that I have on my show, and I'm able to, as a thank you for being on my show, I play it at some of my gigs.
Mhm.
So I believe community is a big important of who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I remember growing up, community members that from churches and different organizations that rallied around my family when we went through what we went through. And, as a business owner, I try to do the same thing. Like, there's two different events over here in Salem every year I donate my time to just because, you know what, I don't care if I ever make a dime from it. But
Mhm.
one is the local toy drive. Every year they do Christmas in July, and I donate my business. I sponsor the event, and because of what it goes through, I was that kid that had to get help from the community, and I
Mhm.
know what it's like to struggle. So I want to be able to say, okay, especially as a single father, because I have sole custody of an amazing little girl. She's 3, and I want it to be hope for people that when hey, I can't do Christmas for my little girl this year. I'm struggling, or my kids don't, whatever the situation is, that there's hope. Um, and then also, the other event I do is I do a called a Hero Marathon. I don't run it, but I DJ the finish line every year. I've done it every year since I've had my business. And November of last year was 5 years. So the way I see it is, if we can't take care of our own, whether it's the people we interlock with online or the people that we are in a rural area or even in the surrounding towns. And if we can't take care of that community, why would we expect somebody else to take care of that community?
Oh, oh, man. Well, as you could see several times, I was wiping my eyes, and that is not an act. That is completely genuine because it's so beautiful. Because, like you said, you were in that situation and you knew what you needed to get by. And now that you're doing that for others, it's it's just a beautiful story. So I commend you so much.
I appreciate it. And like I said, I didn't say that to be like a pat on the back. I
No, no,
said,
I not. Yeah.
no, 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 I'm just saying, I said that so people realize that how important it is to take care of one another. I mean, whether you don't have to have the platform we have. I've been doing my podcast since June of last year. I have over 50 episodes in, but you got to be dedicated and you got to believe in yourself. And if that's one thing someone can get from what I do, I would love the goal. Any podcaster has the goal of monetizing.
Mhm.
I would love that. I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
But until that happens, if I can help one person at a time, and this is one of my favorite things I say on my show, that when you don't have the right words to say, music speaks. And,
Mhm.
it just goes to show that whether you're, you know, going through what I went through, an abuse, and, my biological father come around later in life and he did try to mend bridges and things were going good. And then he got a working related accident. And at 4 13, at 14, my biological father died in a work related accident.
Oh, well,
So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
you know what? It sucked, but it made me who I am today. It
Mhm.
sent me down a very dark road for a long time where, thank God, the only thing I was addicted to was alcohol. Not that it's better than anything else, but I tried so much that if I could get on my hands on it, I tried it. Alcohol was my vice. I mean, and I'm thankful looking back now that I didn't have more than one vice because I dabbled in so much.
Right. Yeah. And
And
it's scary out there. I mean, especially now with the all the fentanyl stuff going on. I mean, you could really get yourself into trouble very quickly. And like everyone has their vice, but no, well, I'm super happy how candid you're speaking to me because I think it'll resonate so much with my listeners. And when you share this, it'll resonate with yours as well. We're gonna kind of dive into a little bit of music. I know you said you weren't musical per se, but you do have an ear for music. So is there a song or an album that you heard as a kid where you're like, hell yeah, this is my music, this is what I'm listening to?
Actually, I can't say it's so much as a song, but a genre. Growing up, my mom was very old school, and she listened to the old style country. I'm talking Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, that
Oh
kind
yeah.
of. I love that genre of music. In fact, that's why I became a DJ. I became a DJ because I wanted to make that genre of music popular again. That kind of music spoke to me. And, if I could, Johnny Cash, that's an artist that I wanted when I figured out I wanted to learn to play the guitar before I broke my arm. Johnny Cash is that person I wanted to be like, because his emotion he put into his music, and whether he was singing about killing somebody and shooting a woman down, that it was relatable.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted that. And then when it went from that to, I went away from music for a little bit, and then football come around, and that's when my home life got the worst, is because the abuse started up probably, I don't talk about this one, I'm getting ready to say a whole lot, but I was messed with probably when I was 7 or 8, went on for a year or two,
Hmm.
and my stepdad thought I was lying, so he would hit me. Anyone that knows anything about that, there's signs like when a kid goes to wetting the bed because they're scared at night, and there's certain symptoms that you see, and I had all the symptoms, and
Yeah.
I went to my mom tried to put me in therapy, but my stepdad didn't want no part of it, so then I had to figure out another source. And for me, music was that source. I could put on a wide range. And I mean, I have a wide range of music I like. I like the hair bands of the 80s,
Oh, we're talking like Toto and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, I like a wide range of music. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of rap, but the messages behind they're the same.
Hmm.
And that's what I love about my show, is that it takes that love of music that I have. Because like I said, I would love to play music, but I can't turn my left hand palm up, so I can't really play a guitar like I wanted to. So I'm able to share that love with other people and tell that story. And when people hear a story, they can resonate with the artist. And, you know, um, I don't tell my story often enough because, like I said when before we started recording, that I'm better at being the host than I am a guest.
Well, you're doing great.
I appreciate it.
You're doing absolutely great, but no, you're exactly right because I mean, it's funny that you mentioned like you like Merle Haggard and artists like that, and Johnny Cash, and like that's not my cup of tea, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Like
exactly.
it resonates for you and it speaks to you. And kind of like you said with the rap, I'm not a huge rap guy, but you can get a lot of you just feel what they're going through. So I think, yeah, that's amazing what you're doing with your podcast is to not music is not discriminatory. It's every artist has their story, whether it's through, old school country music or new school rap or punk rock or it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
telling a story.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so many different platforms now that tell that story. I mean, TikTok, yeah, there's a lot of hate for TikTok, but it's a great platform for independent artists and people doing what we are to get our story out there. I can't tell you how many guests um I've gotten off TikTok. One to be exact, to specific is there's a guy by the name of Dalton Jones from Alabama. He's an amazing, talented singer. And I met him. I do a lot of late night strolling on TikTok when I can't sleep. And I happen to stroll through his live. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be here just a few minutes. And next thing I know, I'm here 6 hours later. Um, but it was engaging. And that's where nowadays independent artists have more of a ground to stand on than they did artists back in the 80s because
Right.
before you had to put your tracks down on a cassette tape, take your cassette tape to somebody and hope they would play your cassette tape.
And now you just throw it online and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, you got to work at it, but there's times where it does the work for you. Like you take someone that's passionate about something, and as long as people can see that realness in them, it's going to resonate with someone.
Hmm.
Whether it's getting that person recognized or helping you get recognized on what you're doing. You know, um, I've had artists come to me that say, "Hey, I seen blah 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 was on your show. I would love to tell my story."
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's what I want. I want that platform to where it's more. I don't want to say it as a platform. Let me rephrase that. I want the resource that my
Right.
show is
Okay.
going to
Yeah.
offer because when someone sees it, whether they're going through depression, PTSD, anxiety, um, dealing with trauma, loss of a loved one, whatever their trauma they're going through, they're going to be able to say, "Hey, I heard this guy's story and it really resonated with me." And if there's hope for him that he was out there shooting up last night or last year, and this year he's on top of the mountain and he's a performing artist, then there's hope for me.
Hmm.
And even if you can't resonate with it, but someone that can, you're going to share that story with
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
So
No, for sure.
to me, that's what it's more about. It's like I would love to be monetized and be able to sit at home and make a dime, not have to go to work, not have to work my 8 to 5 job, but
I just loved how you touched on, you mentioned it earlier, if you can just reach one person, it's worth your time. And that's
yeah,
exactly what I'm doing here. Like you said, I'm not monetizing. I don't even know if I've made like $6. I don't even know. But it doesn't matter because if I can just reach one person, it makes the world a better place. So that's why kind of your story really resonated with me and what you're doing. So yeah, I just commend you so much. And kind of what I wanted to segue into. So now that you're kind of you were getting a little older out of your teenage years, and obviously you were going through a lot of things that I didn't necessarily personally experience, but have heard stories on, and I can sympathize with it. But where did you kind of go maybe after your high school years, how you got into your DJing or karaokeing stuff, and just kind of talk about that?
well, actually, growing up, we had a guy, everybody called him Big Lee, and he was exactly that. He was big. And he was an amazing DJ karaoke person, and the energy he brought to the table was incredible. And that always stuck in my mind. And I thought about it and I was like, oh, maybe one day. Well, then I I was stuck in my marriage. Um, Music had given me hope. I was stuck in my marriage. And then by the act of God, I got in a car accident. I hate to say it that way, but it made me where I had to change what I was doing because I was no longer able to do my work. I was a line supervisor at a charcoal plant, a very physical job.
Yeah.
And I went months without being able to move my left arm, and it messed up my back. So I had to whole rethink everything. Well, I was scrolling through Facebook and I found a set of karaoke equipment. A guy was getting rid of it. And another DJ I know, he says, "Hey," I said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to get my settlement. If you'll give me the money or loan me the money, I'll double your return because it was real
Mhm.
cheap. To me, it was worth the investment." But he says, "Okay, okay." Well, things happened, and he ended up taking the equipment back. He was there was a little jealousy in there. So, not to speak ill of another DJ, but
Yeah.
then my mom, and when I returned the equipment, he tried to put in a clause that I could no longer do DJing. Well,
Oh.
my mom was a little annoyed by it. So we found another set. My mom loaned me the money. So then I got a complete setup to do a whole entire band for like $430.
Oh,
And
geez. Okay.
um way bigger than what I needed to be a DJ karaoke,
Mhm.
but it opened doors for me. Like it went from that to I showed up to do a DJing and just play some music at a festival. Next thing you know, the sound guy's showing up drunk and opened that door to me to eventually now I'm actually running sound for bands and stuff. And it's where you got to find that support system and your reason why. Ultimately, I love the fact that I've always been that person. In high school, I was the class clown. I was the person that made people laugh. And I was okay with that. I'm still okay.
Would you say that was your coping mechanism?
Yeah, because I'm the type of person, if I go to a funeral, I'm probably going to cut up a joke.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
doesn't
because
mean I'm not.
I always say if you're not gonna laugh, you're gonna cry. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've
I'm
had
s-
people tell me that it's not a joking matter. You know what? It may not be a
Mhm.
joking matter, but it's how I deal with things.
No, and that's completely fair. And so, before I get super deep, because I do want to get a little deep into my personal story, because I've actually never um, really shared it before publicly, especially on a platform as big as this. But could you talk about, was there a moment when you're like, I'm going to start my podcast? Because there was one for me, and I just wanted to know if there was one for you.
Actually, with me doing the sound and what I've been through, I've had moments where I was like, man, I should do this. Well, June of last year, I did a big festival out of the place in Missouri called Captain Jack's Campground out in Summersville, Missouri. And I met a guy out there, an incredible guy. His name's Bubba Starts. And he's like now he's one of the people you met and he was just like you felt like you know this person all your life. And he has become like family to me. And I was talking to him then. I didn't know all this now, but then, and I said, "Hey," and he was talking about how he had a project called a podcast called the Sing Projects, and I was like, "Man, that's something I've always wanted to do."
Hmm.
And we just got to talking. He had my phone number from working with him for sound that weekend, and then he gets home back to South Dakota, and he calls me. He's like, "Willie, we're going to make your dream a reality." And he walked me through them first steps, and has sort of stepped into that role of being a mentor for me because he's able to show me things that better ways of doing things. Like
Hmm.
I started off on Riverside and not knocking Riverside, and he was doing Zoom, and we moved from him being on Zoom and him being on me being on Riverside to now we're doing one platform, and we're doing a platform called StreamYard, and we have access. I'm able to come in and help him edit his stuff, which he does most of his own, but there's been times where he'd be on the scene doing a rodeo or whatever, and I'm able to come in and help produce a show. So to find that place where you belong. I mean,
Hmm.
your why, your why, and honestly, my why on why I'm doing my podcast has helped me when life got hard personally, and I wanted to quit.
Right.
Back in November, and I was hit with an eviction notice by my own family. It took me some time, and I was mad. And
Understandably.
um, which I had a house. It just wasn't ready to live in yet.
Hmm.
I was remodeling it, but to go from that to where I am now, and I'm like, you know what? My why is clear. My why is what's going to keep me going, because I know that at the end of the day, whether it's my story or somebody else's story, it's going to help them. And like right back here, I interviewed the lady that runs this. Her name's Charlotte Roop. I
Listen,
interviewed her.
would you I can edit this out, but would you mind sharing that uh contact information with me? Because I would love to talk to her.
I will share it off camera with you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's just fine.
Um, but actually, if you look, it's right there. Actually, now that I see it, it's there.
Oh,
605
there we go.
418 6649. Her name's Charlotte Roop. She's actually Miss South Dakota. an amazing woman. And um I connected with her through Bubba, and next thing I know, this year in May 16th in Summersville, Missouri, and September 19th of summer in Salem, Missouri, I'm putting on two benefit concerts to help raise money for Operation Combating Veteran Suicide.
Oh, sweet.
All by saying, yes, I'm going to start my podcast.
Hmm.
So when you get, and it can be very intimidating because there's a lot of new things to get into, that when you take that stage, whether it's an artist, a writer, whatever it is you're doing, you've got to believe in yourself. And, I would put this on my house that I know that my podcast is going to succeed. I know my business is going to succeed. It's already done it. I've had it for 5 years. So at the end of the day, I believe in myself. I've got to be able to sell myself.
Yeah,
Because if I can't believe in myself and sell myself, why would I expect somebody else to believe in me?
exactly right. Well, that's incredible. So I'm going to get a little deep before we take a quick break, if you don't mind, because the really, when I saw your kind of your story and your mission, where it just said how music saved us, I just kind of wanted to share the story literally for the first time publicly, if that's okay with you.
Go ahead.
Um, so yeah, no, music legitimately saved my life. I was in college, I was lost. I had been diagnosed with chronic depression. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving in a just small neighborhood in my crappy Honda Accord as fast as I possibly could, just hoping to hit something, to feel something, to I don't know if it was necessarily a suicide attempt or whatever, but a song came on. It was called Swim by Jack's Mannequin. I have it tattooed on my chest. But music did save my life, literally. And so I just kind of wanted your thoughts on that because, yeah, I've never really shared that before.
But no, yeah, I mean, whether what drove you to music or not and what saved you, I can't tell you yes or no to that question. I mean, you know what impact it had on you. I mean, that's like me telling, but be like, nope, that didn't impact you at all. So and this is what I say is I don't have that right to tell someone that it's not their story. It's their story to tell. That's probably honestly, what I would say is, I mean, yeah, you felt in that moment that, like you said, whether it was suicidal or not, you don't know that, but you felt in that moment that it saved you. So obviously, whatever, I don't know the song that you mentioned, I don't, but it resonated with you. I mean, I can tell you stories after stories where music has done that to me. Like one, for instance, was my ex-wife had left, and I'm always been the person where I put on the radio and I drive. Well, a song came on the radio. I wasn't I'm not I don't push religion on anybody, but at the time I was not religious at all.
Hmm.
And my radio came on. It went from a completely different radio station that I had it on to one I've never listened to in probably 3, 4 years. And the song came on, and the song was Let Go and Let God. And the words in that song talk about just let go of your problems and give them to God. And in that moment, I got clarity on what I needed to do. Going down a highway, sounds horrible, but I took off my wedding ring and flung it out the window because I had complete and utter peace at I was where I needed to be. There's times and times again. And then, I'm the type of person that I use, you have the 5 stages of grief. And I use music to work through them 5 stages of grief. If I'm sad, I listen to a sad song about what I'm going through until I've
Hmm.
cried it all out. Then when the next emotion comes, I listen to a song about that's going through what I'm going through in that phase. And I just use it to stair step my way out. And, you know, um, as country as I am, there's a song by Michael Jackson, and it's Man in the Mirror. I love the song.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a oh God,
But
that's a banger.
yeah, but I was in my point in my marriage. Wow, it was narcissistic. I lost who I was. Um, and I don't speak ill of her. I mean, she's the mother of my kids. I won't do that. But it was a very bad marriage. We were both toxic for each other. She was narcissistic. I mean, there was a lot of bad, and I didn't know who I was when I got out of my
Mm,
marriage. I didn't know what Willie Thornton liked to do. I didn't know my why at the end of the day.
yeah.
So then I was headed to a DJ because even through my divorce, I didn't quit DJing. It kept me grounded. It was hard and really hard, but I did it.
Yeah.
And in one of them zones where the radio station transitions, the Michael Jackson sound came on, and I cried like a baby. Not because it was a sad song, but in that moment, I knew what I had to do
It
to
it
find
just has
healing.
that feeling to music just resonates with you. It doesn't matter if it's happy or sad or
Oh, exactly.
it
There's a
means nothing. It doesn't matter. It just if it resonates with you, that's all that matters.
Exactly. There's a study that Harvard did back in 2021, and I'm going to paraphrase it. This is Wild Willie's wording, not the Harvard study. But basically, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine,
Yeah.
and it's the chemical that makes you happy, sad, motivates you, whatever. So when you listen to these songs, and that's why when you hear someone listen to a depressed song and that's all they listen to, even when they're kind of happy, that's why they constantly stay depressed
Hmm.
because that is what that song is channeling. So listen to them songs that get you through your depression. But once you start getting happy again, change that song because it's just going to bring you right back down. That's like an alcoholic listening to a song about drinking all the time. Um,
Absolutely.
like I deal with alcohol. I struggle with that. And there's a country song out there. It's an older one, but it's the more I drink. If I've had one, I've had 13. That's a song that's why I don't drink.
Mhm.
But then you get to a point where you got to be comfortable with who you are. Society, especially as men, society has told us that it's okay, not okay to cry. Suck it up, Buttercup. Just keep pushing that stuff down.
Yeah, and
And
that's not healthy.
I don't know it at all. When you think of a trash can, you put trash in your trash can. It's a very simple analogy, but you put trash in this trash can. And the more trash you put in there, eventually, no matter how packed you shove that trash can down, where's the trash going to go? It only has one place to go. It's going to spill onto the floor.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
So, I mean, we and often as society, people, men, especially as men, I mean, we are almost told that our feelings aren't valid. Um, like I can tell you how many times I was told growing up that why are you crying? There's nothing to cry about.
No, and it's
So
no, that's a very powerful message because I mean, as we've seen, as our podcast has unwinded, I've been wiping tears from my eyes several times. I'm a very emotional person, and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't necessarily think it's a strength or a weakness, but I just resonate with things, and
I
so
think
yeah, yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry. I think it's a strength. I really do, because that means you have compassion. That's what I tell myself. So if it's a weakness, I've got the same weakness.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it's the strength because when someone comes up to you, it's compassion. You have compassion. When you come to me with a story and it's a heartfelt story and it's a genuine story, not a story where you want pity, but a genuine story. And what I mean
Mm,
by that is society has normalized being a victim.
right.
Because if I play a victim and everybody sees, oh, poor Willie, they're going to benefit me because they're giving something to me because I'm going through what I'm going through. Where if, and honestly, if you're getting stuff handed to you left and right because you are a victim, why would you want to go anywhere else?
Yeah.
You're not having to work, you're not having to do this, so you're comfortable. Granted, your situation sucks, but some of this at that point is your own fault. I could have got out of my marriage and be like, you know what? My marriage failed. I'm looking at a divorce. Pity me, pity me, pity me. Nope, I didn't. I found me. I took line dancing classes. I did things I wanted to do that my ex-wife said I shouldn't do, but I found me.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. Whether you're going through depression, whether you're fighting anxiety, postpartum depression. These are things that people say that, oh, they're not real because you can't see them.
But they are
And to me,
so effing real.
absolutely. To me, I'm going to use you another analogy. Think of a car. You look at a car and the car looks pristine on the inside, but something's wrong with the engine. You can't see inside the engine. There's something wrong there because the car ain't moving like it should.
Right.
So you know something's wrong just as you can't see it doesn't mean the issue ain't there. So that is what I've had to get to and tell people, you know what? It's my story to tell. And at the end of the day, if I'm not a, I was a victim at one point by the things I went through, but I'm not going to live there in that victim state
Hmm.
because if I would have lived in that victim state to where poor Willie, everything's happening to Willie, then I wouldn't be where I am.
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't be where I don't have to film another episode until if I didn't want to film another episode, I don't have to film another episode until May.
And so I'll just leave you with this before we take a quick break. Um, and I know this isn't necessarily supposed to be like super religious, but I guess I did grow up very religious, so kind of tend to go there sometimes. So I apologize if it makes you uncomfortable. But you never ask God to, solve your problems. You ask God to guide you through your problems. And I don't think you need to be religious to live by that. So I just
Oh
wanted your
no.
thoughts on that before we take a quick
Oh,
break.
absolutely not. I am religious. I am. I don't push that on anybody because to me that's wrong to push your beliefs on somebody else. I can voice my opinion on it but I'm not gonna say, oh, this is what it is, this is the law. But for me,
Mhm.
I look at it that way, but I also look at it as God's going to put you through what, not so much put you, let me rephrase that. God's going to allow you to go through what you went through. Look at Job. Look at everything Job went through.
Mhm.
Then it was given back to him tenfold. But, he's going to put you through a test, and that test is going to become a testimony. So you got to look at it as where are you? And are you one of them people, if you are religious, are you only coming to God when your life sucks?
Right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's my thought on it.
No, I love that because uh again, whether you're religious or not, you still have to, and again, we are, but when things are going well, you also still have to spend as much time as you do when you ask for help to thank him for what he has provided you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you another little story real quick. April of last year, I bought a house Christmas Eve of 24. April of last year, I was working on this said house and fell to the floor. Broke my arm in 4 different places. Went through a 6.5 hour surgery.
Oof.
But I went 3 months having nerve damage in my left arm. Couldn't move my left wrist at all. It stayed down like that for 3 months.
Oh man.
So I had to learn how to rely on my other abilities.
Hmm.
Um, and that's when I found a support system. Whether you're religious or not, you're going to have a support system. You should have a support system. If you
Right.
don't, you need to find you one. And there's nothing wrong, my number's right there. I don't care if people know it. Um, you need someone to talk to and you don't want to call a therapist, I'll listen. That's
Yeah.
just who
You
I
just
am.
need you just need a friend. Just a
Exactly.
friend.
Yeah, if you need someone to now, if it's so bad where you're wanting to go hang yourself and get help, there's nothing wrong with getting help.
Nope. Nothing at all.
I mean, I've been there. I've had to get the help. But
Y-
whether you're religious or not, the morals should be the same. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And too many times when in the society we live in, we have white, black, gray, light gray, dark gray. No,
Yeah.
you know, and somehow they even get some purple up in there, you know. But to me, I think we need to go back to our basics of right is right, wrong is wrong. There's no, well, it's kind of okay.
No, I'm completely with you there, and I could go on a whole tangent on that. I'm not going to
So could I.
today.
We better change the subject.
Oh, pardon the interruption, folks, but we have to talk about Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue. I've seen firsthand what Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue can do. I've adopted both my dog and my cat from them and know the love and care they put into every animal. But Muddy Paws isn't just about adoption. Every third Saturday of the month, they host free vaccination clinics to protect pets against parvo and distemper, two diseases that are devastating yet so easy to prevent. Families can also add on Bordetella protection for just $5 and even get their pets microchipped for $15. It's affordable, it's life-saving, and it's one more way Muddy Paws is giving animals the second chance they deserve. Learn more at Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue, and you'll find the link in the episode description. Welcome back to my conversation with Willie Thornton. Willie, I'd really like to get into kind of what your podcast means and any advice you would give to, younger podcasters to just, spread your message without, huge platforms or huge budgets or huge editors or things like that.
Well, for starts, whether you're a young podcaster, young artist, young whatever, just because I'm 35, but at one point in my walk, I was a young podcaster. Whether because I'm not experienced as somebody else, and often
Mhm.
people get hung up on the young or old of it because you can be 24 and been doing podcasting for 6 years. Obviously, you're an older podcaster.
Yeah.
So whether just do it, take that leap. If it's something you want to do, just take that leap. Not to rip off Nike, but just do it. And as far as equipment, when I first started, I used a laptop and only a laptop.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's pretty much where I'm at. I have my laptop and I have this microphone that was probably like $60 off of Amazon. That's
I,
pretty much what
I,
I've
I
got.
didn't even add that. I went and I bought one of them headphones that they use for like answering businesses that have the headphones and the microphone built into it. And probably my first 30 episodes were done with that.
Oh, well,
Um,
that's great advice.
and if it's something you want to do and you think you've got to have the top of the line equipment, look at marketplace. Whether you're an artist, a writer, whatever your niche is, whatever your niche is, you've got to have that stability. And like for me, when I talked about DJing, and this all ties into my DJing. Um, I searched marketplace and I found cheap on marketplace because I didn't know if my DJing was going to succeed. So I went and found on I mean, it was good equipment, but it was cheap because it was used.
Mhm.
So it's okay to start used and cheap and build your way up. I mean, a
I
lot of what
think I was just gonna say, I think at the end of the day, what you're getting at is the equipment doesn't matter. It's about the content.
oh, absolutely. I mean, to say some of my best viewed episodes were my early episodes because I didn't have banners. I didn't have a MacBook that moved when I moved, and it kind of drives me crazy, and I'm gonna figure out how to shut it off. But I didn't have any of that. I enrolled in school, and I'm going into school for audio production, and they sent me equipment. Honestly, I wouldn't even have bought it because I was content with where I was at. Now, am I grateful? Yeah, I got a condenser mic, I got an interface, a monitor speakers, and eventually I would have got there on my own. But sometimes you got to do it one piece at a time. Uh, and it's okay to not have it together. I mean, at the end of the day, your message is important. What you're taking your stand on. Now, if you're looking into a podcast and say you want to do a podcast on cars, don't go out there and do one the same way that 50 others are done. Research, because there are going to be um there are going to be different ways of doing it. I'm sure there's other podcasts that talks about the healing of music, but my realness of it all, my I can't say the word. Oh,
Authenticity, yeah.
thank you. It's one of the words I can't say.
That's
Uh,
okay.
it's it's that. I'm not afraid to stumble. I'm not afraid, and like when I
And
do
that's
my
what makes your podcast so beautiful.
absolutely when I have episodes, some of my early episodes, my daughter, I normally don't say her name. I said it earlier, but I call her Monkey. That's her nickname since she was little. Um, she has come in and been like, "Hey, Daddy, I love you." When I'm filming, if she comes into those, I don't mute my mic. I say, "Daddy loves you too. Go play." I never edit any of that out.
No,
I have
because that's
fun.
authentic. That is authentic, and that's what makes you you.
Absolutely. Um, I had an episode where I filmed with a guy. His daughter was doing the same thing, and he's like, "I'm so sorry." I
Hmm.
said, "Dude, that's what this show is about." Because for mine and the way I wanted to reach my audience is the fact that you can be as real as you need to be. Show them struggles. Show them struggles that you're a single parent and you have a daughter that is curious about what you're doing.
Hmm.
Not so much that that's a struggle, but that's an obstacle that you got to overcome.
Right, yeah. No, that's amazing. I've experienced that a couple times with some of my guests. Not necessarily in your situation, but just like life happens.
Oh,
And it
absolutely.
doesn't, I'm not publishing this on NBC or ABC. Like
Why not? Just kidding. Um,
I mean,
but
I
no,
mean, if I could, I guess I wouldn't say no to that. But
shoot for the stars. I mean, that's where we cut ourselves off, and I'm guilty of it too. Is we think small. We all do it. Paint that big picture. Shoot high.
Mhm.
You're gonna fail. You shoot high, you're gonna fail. But you know what? At the end of the day, who cares? Because it's only
Yeah,
failure when you don't get back up. And with my podcast, I have learned so many different things. Like I was going through Riverside, my streaming got cut off mid episode. Running through technical issues. I've had guests come on and say, "Hey, I'm using this. Let me help you." When I was very green behind my ears, there was people that come into my life and in all aspects of my life, the DJing, the sound guy, all aspects of my life where even as a parent, you got to be acceptable to an advice. And if you're giving the advice to someone, don't come at them sideways about it. Be respectful when you come to someone and say, "Hey, what you're doing is great, but I think if you tweaked it here a little bit, you you really could do so much more for what you're doing."
mhm,
As a sound guy, I see a lot of artists that are amazing, talented, but they put their whole tracks behind them like they recorded, so you're getting their vocals and their vocals they're performing on. And I tell them all the time, you are a really good artist, but you got to take your background art vocals out because you're competing, you're trying to stay right on track with what the way you recorded it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, for sure.
you got to stay true to who you are. It's probably the most important. Like I joined the network, I joined the Scene Project Network. Um, a good friend of mine, he's more like a brother, Bubba Starks. And when we talked about it, I told him, I said, I want to come on board, but I want it to be my show still.
Hmm.
And he was okay with it. I joined his back in August of last year, and not once has he told me, this is how I want you to film your episodes. And
But like,
honestly, I probably would have listened to his advice if it would make it better. Like when I do mine, I'm so thankful for StreamYard because like StreamYards, I can put all my intro videos in, all my outro videos in. I can put in songs, I can put in logos. I do all my editing as I'm producing my show. And he's giving me pointers in that aspect. So you take them advice and you got to run with it. But at the end of the day, if it don't work for you, you can't say, oh, and I'll use me because I was talking about Bubba. I can say, oh, it's Bubba's fault that this didn't work. No,
it's on you.
it's on me. Just because it worked for Bubba and Bubba suggested it and I tried it, doesn't mean that Bubba was wrong in telling me how to do it. That's what worked for him. And granted, there's been times where he's told me things and they didn't quite work for me, but some of the stuff he said I could use. So I took some of the technique out of it and I made it my own. And that's what you got to do. Because if I'm telling you to film your show one way and you film it exactly the way I do,
It
then
just won't work
you're trying to put yourself
because
in a box.
exactly. I mean, I resonate with you and I love talking to you, but I'm not you. My show is not your show.
Exactly. And I mean, that's where a lot of people mess up too, is as podcasters, someone that's starting a new career in general, whether it's whatever the field is. Oh man, look at, and I'm using Bubba because like he's kind of my mentor, my brother. He really
Yeah.
is. But it'd be like me saying, man, look at where Bubba is now, and I'm nowhere near as good as he is.
Mhm.
For one, Bubba's further along in his journey than I am. So the
And that's
moment
fine.
Oh, absolutely. The moment we quit comparing ourselves to each other, we're going to be better off.
Yeah.
Be you, and not to sound harsh, but if you're out there and you're going through imposter syndrome, quit worrying about what other people are doing. Quit trying to be like other people.
Yeah. You
Do
need
what
to
works for
be,
you. Do what works
yeah.
for you. Who cares about what everybody else is doing? You know, I used to watch my analytics all the time. Then I got a little upset because they weren't growing as fast as I thought they should.
Hmm.
And,
I've been there. Yeah, that's for sure.
and Bubba gave me the piece of advice. Who cares? Are you doing what you want to be doing? Are you getting the message out that you want to be getting out? And the answer to that question is yes. Honestly, to this day, I cannot tell you what my analytics look like from my podcast. Do I care? Probably not. I probably should. I mean, I want my show to grow. Not that I don't want my show to grow, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not doing what I'm doing because I want the clout. I want to be saying, hey, this is who I am. You got to respect me. I'm Wild Willie from Soul Impact. That's not why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to help people.
Yep.
And
And
at
that,
the end of the
yeah,
day, your why should be bigger than anything. Your why are you doing it?
yeah,
Why did you step out? Why are you doing it? What's your purpose? For me, mine, I want to be a resource, but also I want my daughter to see that it's never too late to chase your dreams.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And the why is the most important. The how is important as well, how you can do that as well. But I guess what comes of it is kind of secondary. The why and the how has to come first.
Oh,
Does that
exactly.
make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, I don't even care about the how, because if I don't care how I get there, is what I mean by saying that. Is if my message reaches one person, I don't care how it got there. I don't care if that episode, there's gonna come a time where someone's gonna come upon it, even this episode. Be like, man, I'm gonna dig deeper into that person. And next thing you know, they're down a rabbit hole and they're watching every episode I ever filmed.
Exactly.
So I don't care about, and I tell you, one of my favorite things about my show is one of the questions I ask almost every artist that's on my show is about their writing process and how they write their music. And the reason why that's one of my favorite parts is because the answer's never the same. Never. In 50 plus episodes, I have never got the same answer on how someone composes a song. And I love that because I just go show it's not important how you got there, it's where you ended.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Because you can
Yeah.
have a song that tops the chart and it's a great song. He may have struggled like all get out trying to write that song. May have took him a
Absolutely.
year to write that song. But now look at where that song is now that it's out. It's topping the chart. You know,
Mm.
and that's basically you got to get to that point where your love for it is going to overpower anything that else. I mean, I
No,
got family that don't support what I'm doing because it doesn't pay the bills. Um, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy with it. You're right. It don't pay the bills. And eventually I would love to say, okay, hire a DJ to go be able to go DJ my events and I can sit at home and do podcasting because it's paying my bills. End goal. I'll be completely honest with you. At some point in my life, that is my end goal. That is where I want Soul Impact to be. I want it to be able to sustain itself and provide for my family. But until that day, I don't care how I get there. I'm going to
no,
keep being me. I'm going to stay true to who I am. And if no one else likes it, then you don't have to watch me. You don't have to listen to me.
no, no, absolutely. I mean, that's, kind of how I approach it as well. And I've said this 100 times, if I can even have my father just listen to it and like it, that's enough for me. I don't care if it's that one listen. That's enough. Yeah, so before we sign off, I wanted to kind of talk about where you see yourself in the future, how you think you can grow, because obviously you want to. So, do you have any strategies or anything coming up that you'd like to share?
Honestly, I mean, I hit on it. I got these big festivals I'm doing this year. The two benefits for Operation Combating Veteran Suicide, um, OCVS for short. So from here on out, instead of saying it every time, I'm going to call it OCVS because that's what we call it for short. And I got them coming up. And again, that's May 19th or May 16th in Summersville, Missouri at Captain Jack Campground, and September 19th at a place in Salem called Lone Pine Ranch. And both events are going to start about noon and run till the last band is going to take the stage at 9 o'clock. I have a
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's probably the two big projects I have coming on. And honestly, what I see me as far as my podcast is just I need to get better at networking. Yes, I'm on a network, but that doesn't do the work for me. I need to do better at shaking hands and kissing babies. Sort of, the old saying,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and that's why I've joined the Facebook groups and Podmatch has been tremendous, and you can actually make money off of it. It's not much, but you can make money off of it.
Yeah, like I said, I've noticed a huge uptick in my numbers. I had, you'll probably laugh at it, but it was big for me. I had 90 listens on a Tuesday, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome. And you know what? I'm not. It wouldn't be right of me to laugh at you, and I won't do that because that's your success, and it would be wrong of me to rob that success.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it so much.
Uh,
Um,
my big advice is just keep doing what you're doing. Stay true to who you are. There's going to be a time where you're going to be thrown some options and obstacles, and you're just going to have to overcome them. But like we talked about, as a podcaster, record some episodes in advance.
Mhm.
Because yeah, you may plan on going every Monday, but life happens. And as a podcaster, we need to be consistent. Um, Everything I've watched for far as learning, I've went through seminars. That was the one big thing they said is that we need to be consistent on release dates. That's
Yeah.
why, and I picked Thursdays because at the time I wasn't working on Thursdays. I could share the tar out of it. Pick a day that, you know, and there's all sorts of programs that you can make short reels. And I got to get better at this myself and post them reels to your Facebook, to your YouTube, to your social medias, whatever platform you're using, use that. Because at the end of the day, you've got to use your resources, and
Because
what
they're
works,
out there.
yeah, exactly. What works for me. Now I tell you, I joined the podcast network, the Scene Project. Um, he offers a thing called Podcast AI. It's a great tool. Um, it makes my shorts for me because I'm not very good at it. So it'll take the best clips and it'll make shorts from every one of my videos.
Oh,
Um,
that's sweet.
and then actually it will distribute them to certain platforms for me. But you got to get better. You got to think of the algorithms and you're almost racing the algorithm. If you're
Mhm.
only posting to your social media once or twice a month, there's going to be no traction on your page.
Right, because you're just going to the same people over and over again. You're just spinning your wheels. You're doing nothing.
Now, you can do like I do on my TikTok. I post little reels with little pictures with music to it. Just like has music helped you, and it'll automatically pick a song that picture's going to play to.
Oh, that's
Um,
sweet.
just the more you put out there, whether it's your Facebook, your TikTok, your Instagram, whatever platform you're using, um, share it. The biggest thing you could do, and I didn't do this until recently, is a link tree. You know, get a link tree. That way, when someone asks, "Where are you? What platforms you're on?" You send them one link. You ain't got to send them 17 different links.
Mm. No, that's amazing advice, actually. 'Cause that's kind of the hardest thing for me right now is we can get more on this offline, but yeah, that's the hardest part for me is because I'm not super social media savvy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with that too, but that's where I probably need to improve the most at is on my social media presence.
Yeah, well, I cannot thank you for your time enough. Um, yeah, so before we wrap up, I will talk all about any links you want to share. I will share them.
Uh,
And I just want to thank you so much. I will, like I said, plug everything, what you're building with your podcast and your story. It resonates so much with me, just being someone with a lot of mental health issues as well as the love of music. It just resonated so well. So, like I said, it's been an amazing conversation. So, this has been Stream of Consciousness with Dan. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone, for spending time with us today on Stream of Consciousness with Dan. This was a meaningful conversation, and I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Willie Thornton for showing up with such honesty and vulnerability. It takes real courage to speak openly about the moments that shape us, and Willie brought a depth and sincerity that I'm genuinely grateful for. If this story resonated with you, I encourage you to follow his work and stay connected with what he's creating. He's someone worth keeping an eye on. If this episode moved you, or if it made you think about your own story a little differently, I'd love for you to follow the show, leave a rating or review, or share this episode with someone who might need it. Communities grow through conversations like these, grounded, human, and real. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this space, and I'll meet you back here next time.